Good evening, everyone, and thank you for being here, whether online or in person. My name is Melissa. I am honored to serve as the chair of the Tewksbury Board of Health. I want to first acknowledge my fellow Board of Health members, so Susan Amato, Vice Chair, George Ferdinand, Clerk, and Chris Janikzak, Board Member, and it's also her birthday, so thank you.
Thank you.
Unfortunately, Kevin Hardiman, who's the Director of Public Works, was unable to attend, but he has provided detailed information about fluoridization in Tewksbury's water supply, which I'll present on his behalf. So tonight's forum is an opportunity to discuss the fluoride in Tewksbury's water supply. This is a community issue, and as an elected official, it's my responsibility to listen to the concerns of the residents and ensure that we make informed, science-based, and ethical decisions regarding public health. Tonight's forum will proceed as follows. I'll provide a brief overview of fluoride in Tewksbury, including when it was implemented and how it's maintained. I'll summarize the stated beliefs of stated benefits of fluoride and why it has been recommended by public health agencies. I will also summarize concerns raised by studies and legal rulings about potential risks. Then I'll open the floor to public comment so we can hear from the residents. And then after public comments, I'll invite the fellow board members to share their thoughts before I provide my own perspective on the matter. Finally, we'll discuss next steps and how the board will proceed in the coming weeks. So I want to make sure that everyone is aware the Board of Health has not yet made a decision on where we are, and we're here to gather public input. This is an issue that affects everyone, and we want to ensure a fair, respectful, and open discussion. So to begin, I wanted to review what fluoride looks like in Tewksbury. So it was approved in 1984 by a town-wide vote. So there was 6,196 in favor, 3,994 opposed. Our water is fluorinated to 0.6 to 0.8 ppm with a target of 0.7 ppm per public health recommendations. The town spends approximately $16,000 annually on fluoride, which is 2.1% of the water treatment plan's chemical budget. The fluoride used is called hydrofluorosilicic acid. It's 23% strength, and it's sourced from Harcrose Chemicals. Fluoride levels are monitored daily, weekly, and monthly, with reports submitted to the Massachusetts Department of Environmental Protection. When asked, Tewksbury has not had any recorded instances of over-fluoridization, and our current levels remain within the recommended range. This was all from the Water Department. So public health agencies such as the CDC and American Dental Association support fluoride, stating that it helps prevent tooth decay by strengthening enamel, especially in children. Studies show that communities with fluoridated water tend to have lower rates of cavities. It is considered a cost-effective public health measure that benefits those who may not have access to regular dental care, and the CDC has referred to water fluoridization as one of the greatest public health achievements of the 20th century. This is the reasoning behind why they have maintained fluoride in our water supply. So while fluoride has been promoted as a dental health strategy, there has been some recent research that has raised concerns about its long-term health effects and ethical implications. So there are some scientific concerns, which the studies will be available for everyone. There are a multitude of studies and papers that will be all given to the board, to the health department, so anybody will be able to have access. It's become public. So there's been a 2009 study from pediatrics that found higher material fluoride exposing during pregnancy was linked to lower IQ, 30% higher rate of hypothyroidism, and ethical considerations are that it's classified as a medication when used to prevent disease, and informed consent is foundational principle of medicine. So these are some of the things that have been said and mentioned throughout. So these concerns have led to increased public discussion and reconsideration of fluoride policies in many communities. So before we open the floor for public comment, I want to make sure that everyone that is unable to attend but wanted to have their voices heard, ensure that they can still submit anything in writing to us as well. And we'll go through that in a bit as well. So at this time, I would like to open the floor for public comment. I believe we have to vote on that or have a motion to open.
Motion that we open the public.
Okay, do I hear a second?
Second.
Your mic. There's been a motion and seconded. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Okay, so the public comment portion of this meeting has been opened. So please come forward, state your name for the record, and then share your thoughts. Each speaker will have up to 3 minutes so we can hear from as many residents as possible. I'm glad to see so many people here. If you prefer to submit your written comments again instead of speaking tonight, we'll welcome all perspectives and appreciate your participation in the important discussion. So I will put on here, hopefully if this works, a timer so all of you have that. So is anyone open to be the first? And we'll just, you guys can just go up in line, and again, this is about discussion. I'm not going to call, just informal matter. There is also a paper, so if you can sign your name and your address and then state it as well.
Sorry, slow writing.
That's okay.
Good evening, I'm Christopher Wood, resident of Tewksbury, 163 Patrick Road. I'm speaking in favor of ending fluoridation of the public water supply. There are 3 primary bases upon which I form my opinion that fluoridation of the public water supply should be discontinued. First, it represents forced medicalization. Second, drinking water is only a small part of the overall water supply usage. And third, the underlying studies upon which the fluoridation recommendations were made were flawed in both methodology and results. As far as forced medicalization goes, is an abuse of an individual's autonomy and self-determination. In particular, this forced medicalization is not the only way to achieve the intended goal. When fluoridating all water, there is no control, for example, on dosage. Some people drink a lot of water, while others may drink very little. However, the person who seeks to consume large quantities of water, say 2 liters per day or more, have no way to reduce their ingested fluoride quantities from the public water supply. If relying on the public's excess fluoride is dangerous and can lead to numerous issues through fluorosis. Critically, for the aged, fluorosis can lead to weaker bones, stiffness, and joint pain. On the other hand, people desiring fluoride have several ways to add fluoride to their health care. These include fluoride supplements, fluoride toothpaste, and fluoride treatments. In that way, they can consume or use the fluoride treatment appropriate for their particular situation, getting the proper dosage as they deem appropriate for their health care goals. Consumed water versus overall water fluoridation. Domestic water only makes up approximately 12% of overall public water usage. In addition to that, only 19% of that domestic usage is from the faucet, meaning water consumed either through cooking or consumption. In other words, only 3% of water is typically consumed by individuals. There is no reason to fluoridate the entire water supply to only possibly benefit a tiny fraction of the system and more likely cause harm or injury to another group. Such an approach does not make economic sense. The early studies were observational in basis. They lacked randomized control trials, including biases due to populations and oral hygiene practices, did not address the impacts of adult water consumption and adult caries, and long-term effects of use. Fluoride is a known neurotoxin that affects child development, and studies have shown that it's linked to lower IQs and poorer cognitive outcomes, has been linked to cardiovascular problems, lower fertility, early puberty in girls, and thyroid dysfunction. Interestingly, Utah has now poised to be the first state to ban water fluoridation, simply waiting for the governor's signature. The criticisms I've discussed on public fluoridation are easily solved by stopping the fluoridation.
Oh, hi.
Madam Chair, I'd ask if you could have another minute. I know you may not want to do it for everybody, but I'm just asking.
Are you almost complete?
Yeah, I have like 4 sentences left.
Okay.
Individuals desiring fluoride have numerous ways to obtain the same, while people who do not want or cannot tolerate water fluoride have no alternative than expensive fluoride removal systems or the use of non-fluoridated water, but that becomes difficult and expensive when including cooking and other consumption uses. Consuming water is a personal decision and should not be forced. Consuming fluoride through water and should not be forced, and therefore the inclusion of fluoride is forced medicalization. Finally, the economics of water fluoridation do not make sense. Between the dosing problems and predominantly non-consumption uses, public fluoridation of the water supply should be stopped. This is bad science, bad medicine, and bad economics.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
What I may do as well while he's doing that afterwards, George, if you don't mind grabbing the paper, I'm going to put the paper and the pen right there. So if anybody does want to come up and sign, oh, thank you, and sign, they can sign their name already. So then they can just go right up and state your name and address when they're ready. That way we can save some time in between. Thank you.
I promise I'll move the microphone back down when I'm done. Dustin Weir, 426 Chandler Street. Good evening. Thank you for providing this forum for the work you do to protect public health. The overwhelming scientific consensus for every major public health organization remains unchanged. The CDC calls water fluoridation one of the greatest public health achievements of the last century. The National Institutes of Health and the National Toxicology Program confirm there is no evidence of harm from fluoridation at recommended levels. The World Health Organization, National Dental Association, International Association for Dental, Oral, and Craniofacial Research, and American Dental Association endorse fluoridation as an essential tool for preventing cavities. Fluoridation reduces cavities by 25% or more across all ages. Some recent studies have questioned whether fluoride could impact cognitive function. I commend the board for staying informed, and I encourage you to continue to follow the emerging research. But let's be clear, these studies have not overturned the decades of established science for several reasons. The findings in these studies are inconsistent. Some suggest an effect, some do not. Many of these studies examine fluoride exposure levels far higher from what is used in U.S. drinking water. Socioeconomic status, lead exposure, iodine levels, and diet all affect IQ, and many studies do not control for these variables. There is no established mechanism for the correlation. Scientists have yet to identify how fluoride at recommended levels would biologically reduce IQ, whether through neuroinflammation, thyroid function disruption, or some other mechanism. Good science follows the weight of evidence. The weight of evidence supports fluoridation. Now let's talk about Tewksbury-specific numbers mentioned in the November Board of Health meeting that you recapped at the beginning of this meeting. Thank you. Our town spends $15,875 per year to fluoridate the water. This works out to 51 cents per person annually based on our last census numbers. The CDC estimates that for every dollar spent on fluoridation, communities save about $32 per person per year in dental costs. This translates into a little under $1 million in savings for Tewksbury residents every year. I ran my own household analysis. I support fluoridation. As someone who stays informed and has the resources, I would use fluoride mouthwash to replace what's removed. I estimate that my family of 4 would spend $134 on fluoride mouthwash based off of the price of a 1 liter bottle of fluoride mouthwash. By contrast, my family spends $2 in taxes per year. The most important, I know I'm running low on time. Some Tewksbury families don't have access to routine dental care. They may not be able to afford fluoride treatments or even know they need them. If fluoridation is removed, those most impacted will not be the ones in this room tonight. It will be the children in lower income households who don't have access to fluoride treatments, and it will be seniors on fixed incomes who can't afford dental visits.
Are you almost complete?
I'm not, but I'll submit my written statement to the board. I have references for all of the claims I make.
Yes, please. Thank you. Appreciate that.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Oh,
I didn't put my name on it.
that's okay.
I still haven't learned since elementary school.
That's okay. Thank you.
Upper left-hand corner.
No statement either. Too big for it.
Hi, I'm Amy Lukovich. I just want to say I'm not,
Just need your address, please.
6 Sullivan Parkway.
Thank you.
I am not for fluoride in our water. I just think it should be a personal choice, and like others have said, I recently got a water filter, which only is for the drinking water, and that only gets out 90% of the fluoride. So it's a big undertaking to do your whole house, and especially like your showers and everything like that. So I just think it's a lot easier for people to add it in if it's something that they want, and it should be a personal choice. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hello,
I just need you to state your name and your address, please.
my name is April Lowell McCreary, and I live at 2A Sharon Street. I have a PhD in molecular and cellular biology from Brandeis University. I'm here in support of keeping fluoride in our water supply. The evidence from over 75 years of water fluoridation is clear. Water fluoridation is not only safe, it is also an effective and necessary method for preventing tooth decay and worse health outcomes. This is supported by an abundance of evidence-based research backed by the CDC, ADA, AMA, HHS, U.S. Public Health Service, and over 90 other world-renowned health institutions. At the current levels used in Massachusetts and Tewksbury, which is about 0.7 milligrams per liter, or ppm, like you said, it is a proven and recommended tool for taking care of our teeth and our children's teeth. Since some folks are skeptical, I'd like to share the story of what happened to the residents of Calgary, Canada in recent years. In 2011, Calgary voted to eliminate the use of fluoride in their water supply. They thought this would save them money and help their health. It did neither. In fact, these recent events are an excellent case study in why water fluoridation is so essential. A study comparing grade 2 students in Calgary found significantly higher cavity rates in Calgary children compared to their neighbors. About 65% of Calgary children had one or more cavities in their baby teeth compared to about 55% in their neighbors who still had fluoridated water. The number of tooth surfaces in decay per child increased by 3.8 in Calgary compared to only about 2 in their neighbors. So dental infections requiring IV antibiotics at Alberta Children's Hospital increased by 700% from 2011 to 2018. More children required general anesthesia for their dental procedures. 65% of children receiving tooth decay-related treatments under general anesthesia were from Calgary. For children under 5 years old, the rate of dental treatments under anesthesia doubled from 22 to 45 per 100,000 in Calgary. The study concluded that water fluoridation removal had an adverse effect on children's dental health and exacerbated social inequities in dental health. In November 2021, Calgary had 62% support for reintroducing fluoride back into their drinking water. This led to a city council decision to reinstate water fluoridation. Calgary made a mistake in 2011, and they're correcting it now. Let's learn from their experience and maintain our fluoridation program. In general, community water fluoridation prevents at least 25% of tooth decay in children and adults. It is also cost-effective for residents. The average lifetime cost per person to fluoridate a water supply is less than the cost of one dental filling. For every $1 invested in water fluoridation, $38 is saved in dental treatment costs. In Massachusetts, communities with fluoridated water have almost 50% higher.
Your time
mass-
is up. Are you almost complete?
Yep, mass health claims for dental care among children. So I have some other comments. I will submit them to the board. But in conclusion, I'm in favor of water fluoridation.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bruce Penelitis, 218 Foster Road. I also have a PhD in biology, did research in vaccines and other related research. It's disappointing that we have this forum at all. The notion that we are going to look at removing, as has been stated multiple times, the single most effective public health initiative in the last 100 years is laughable. Fluoridation started in the 40s in our country. It's been in here since the 80s. If all of these effects that have been claimed largely by dubious studies, and some of those studies are in mice and rats, not in people, which we'd have to actually look at the studies. And frankly, I think the board should have provided those studies to the citizens prior to the meeting as opposed to citing them as fact at the beginning. All we have to do is look at West Texas to understand what happens when you go away from established good public health. And look at the measles outbreak there. You remove good public health and people pay for it. And that's what will happen in Tewksbury if we remove fluoride from our water supply. It's nonsense. It's nonsense that we're even having this discussion. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else?
I have a question, not to take more time to make any more statements.
Can you go up to the mic, please?
Hi, Dustin Weir, 426 Chandler Street. My question is, what exactly is the board considering? Are you considering making a recommendation, filing a motion at Town Hall, or implementing a change from this board itself, or something else? What exactly are you guys considering?
So we're considering discussing what the next steps would be, and that's something that I'll discuss at the end once we close the the public portion of it. Just to see what the next steps are. The point is to really hear from the constituents of Tewksbury and give some time also for people who do not want to speak or haven't spoken or weren't able to come to provide any of their comments, concerns as well to the board, so that we can get an overall aspect of what we're considering doing moving forward.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Okay, so it doesn't appear like anyone else would like to speak. So do we have a motion to close the public portion of this meeting?
Motion to close.
Okay, do I hear a
I'll
second?
second.
Okay, so it's all, motion and seconded has been put forward. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Okay, I am in favor as well, so motion approved. So next would be, I want to be able, oh, that's not mine. So I want to thank everyone who did speak tonight. We want to evaluate this issue. So I'd like to invite any of my fellow board members to share any thoughts they may have. So I'll start with George.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Thank you, Madam Chair. I'd like to preface a few things before I talk about this issue, but let me first just say, Mr. Mr. Pananitis' comment that elections matter, who you vote for matters. We had a really good debate in 2019 on, especially for the Board of Health. So I think this proves that, as you saw, probably half the people that went to the podium were for and against. The other thing I'd like to say is, since our April water, with regards to we had 3 new board members. to our town has been of utmost importance to the board, with many citizens asking that we would address many issues. So there may be issues that some of us like and some of us don't. Regarding my due diligence on water matters, first thing was testing from the Merrimack River to the Lowell treatment plant to our town. The second thing was the sewer system and the short and long-term plans. More of informational, not necessarily cost, because I know folks are really concerned about cost, but we look at the health and safety of the people. Now, with regards to the article tonight, the part of water that we're addressing is, my utmost concern is pregnant women, children. With regards to brain development and IQ scores, I find it's ironic that people have no problem talking about that a person shouldn't drink alcohol until they're over 21 or smoke at all, or over 21, and yet some chemicals go into our children's bodies and we don't seem to question it. I want to commend our chair for even bringing this up, because of the fact when you elect some people, they'll tell you everything you want to hear. You can pat them on the back. We don't want a pat on the back. We want to address all the concerns of the town, people on water matters. I look at, so children regards to brain development and IQ scores. JAMA just came out in January, which is the Journal of American Medical Association, with a 12-page document released in January. And I know those that are not psyched about that at all is because they're all in other foreign countries. And I would only ask you this. If you're either a pharmaceutical company or a fertilizer company, would you really want a lot of testing done in this country if it would affect your bottom line? The second one I looked at a lot was the NIH, National Institute of Health fact sheet for professionals, not just for general consumption, but it has a lot to do with, like, I eat raisins almost every day, and fluoride is in raisins, so I'm just saying it has everything from what is in different, even waters or drinks that we have, plus food. And the third I looked at, and the fourth is, the third is Massachusetts has 351 cities and towns. 120 have fluoride in their system, so 1/3. And the last thing is, I want people to know, regardless of anything that I say or how I vote, money or profit play no part when it comes to health and safety, as far as I'm concerned. Thank you.
Thank you. Susan?
Well, first, I want you all to know how important it is that we get your input. There's a lot to read. There's a lot to educate ourselves on. I'm actually one of the products of the 60s, so I remember when we first got fluoride in our water, and I remember how important it was at that time. After reading a lot of the information, and it's important to us as a board that we not only discuss it and we put it out there for your input and your opinions, but we also want to make sure that you're educated on both sides before you make the proper decisions. This is very important because, sometimes people just go with what they feel. You need to understand the reports that are out there and the facts that are out there before you commit yourself. And what has changed from the 60s to now is we did need the fluoride, and it did help us. But now we're learning that there's fluoride in a lot of the food that we eat every day, whether it's raisins or fruit or shrimp. So it's not whether I'm for it or not for it. What's important for me right now is that we get your input, and whatever the decision is we make it together and we all understand why we made that choice. So I thank you all.
Thank you. Chris?
I would just like to thank everybody for coming out tonight and presenting your opinions. I'm going to look at everything and then make my decision from there. So I appreciate everybody coming out and remaining respectful to everybody. So thank you.
Thank you. So again, I want to thank everyone that has come and spoke tonight. Your voices do matter, and I appreciate the engagement, and this is an important discussion, whether you agree it is or not, or if it should come in front of the board or not. I think anything that is questioned is important to communicate. When it comes to research, whatever side you stand for, you will always find research to support the side that you stand for. There is no research showing that it's bad. There's also no research saying that it's safe. As an elected official, it's my responsibility to look at the facts, listen to the residents, and ensure that a policy is aligned with the best interests of the public health and personal choice. I personally, I will be straight up and tell everyone, and I know elections are coming up and that is okay. I personally do not believe fluoride should be added to our water supply, and there's many reasons why. There are a lot of concerns. There's a lot of new data. Science is always evolving. It took 40 years for them to take out the new Red 4 to mention that it's bad for you. It's taken government and studies to show after so many years that things are causing so many issues. We are in a nation that is the most chronically ill population in the world. There is a lot of things, both for and against, like I said. I think ethically, the part where it's unlike chlorine, which treats the water itself, fluoride is added to treat people. It's making it a form of mass medication without individual consent. I look at it as an ethical issue. And the FDA classifies fluoride as a drug when used to prevent disease, meaning when it's in drinking water, it violates the informed consent. When I ran for the Board of Health 3 years ago, I ran on informed consent. Yes, it is not a lot of money, like George mentioned, 16,000, a little under 16,000. Instead of spending that taxpayer money, even if it's 2 cents or $1, to medicate an entire community that may not want to be medicated, maybe we can redirect those funds elsewhere. So that is where I stand. But again, I'm to listen to the people and to see where this goes from now. There are a couple of, we're going to continue accepting public comments through March 20th. So you can send all the info to myself or any of the board members, however you feel more comfortable. So you can go online, I believe, to the Tewksbury website, look up the Board of Health, send it to myself. My email address is there. I believe Susan's is as well, or any of the board members. And then at our next Board of Health meeting, I think that we will discuss the feedback received and determine whether to move toward a vote or further research, because I want to ensure full transparency throughout this entire process. Whether my opinion is for or against it, like I had mentioned, I want full transparency, and at the end, it is the Tewksbury residents that I am for, and whatever they decide is what, we're going to go through. So we need to decide the next steps is if it's the board actually has the authority to make the decision or if it's a public vote. So that is something that we are going to be looking into as well to see if that is something that we're going to be going and moving forward to. So again, I want to thank everybody for coming today, and everybody that is watching or will be watching. Please submit any information, any of your comments, concerns for or against. One moment.
Just, is there a deadline on the email?
Sorry, I did not mention that. So by our next meeting is March 20th. So if we can have that prior, that would be great. So at least 24 hours before.
Okay.
Yes. Go ahead.
Information. What is each of your scientific expertise?
I am a nurse. My background is nursing, so I have my bachelor's degree in nursing. that is my background.
I work for the federal government.
4 non-scientists.
I believe nursing does have a degree in science.
No,
It's
I
a
am.
bachelor's in science of nursing.
Because to me, a lot of, like Melissa said, I would like to just mention why, and I've done this. I'm one of the few that will answer every question, ask more times to ask questions, and you know what that ends up happening? Is everybody hears something they don't like about George Ferdinand. I just want to state why I ran 10 years ago and why I've run again, is I think regulations are choking our country. I believe in good regulations, but I think that's why I ran, and I was Board of Health. I'm from a union worker, so anything from negotiating contracts to enforcing the health and safety at an individual plant. I'm definitely not a scientist or a medical professional, but I think our town is awesome that we let the people decide who they want to run, who they elect for the positions. Thank you.
Thank you. So
Another question.
This will be, just so everyone knows, this will be the last question, just so that we can wrap up.
Is the board going to be inviting town council to advise on the scope of the board's decision and the legal?
Yes, absolutely.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes,
we've been doing that, yeah.
yes, absolutely.
Yeah, we're not going to be like, this is what it is, and
We do know and understand that it's not just a one step. There's a total process to this, whether it is for or against. If we vote to keep it or if we vote to move forward with it, we do know that it is more than just a one-step process of just saying like, oh, we're going to move forward with it. There's a lot of legalities and a lot of other issues to move.
I think the distinction between making a recommendation, filing a notification or a motion at town meeting to originally approve this, and unilaterally deciding to eliminate it from the water source.
Correct. And that might be something, yeah. Yep, and that might be something that's what we are looking into as well, depending on what is happening and what is going on, for sure.
that's what
Absolutely,
we
yes.
encourage people that couldn't come for whatever reason, to definitely, we'll look at every opinion that comes in.
Absolutely.
Doesn't it matter, though, that those opinions are not educated?
Educated to your determination?
So,
Well, have any of you actually read?
okay, so hold on. No, we are not, okay, George,
No.
George. Excuse
No.
me, but this is not about going back and forth on education or not, or what you feel is educated or what is not educated. Everybody has the right to make an informed decision, whether it is something that you approve or don't approve of, or what you agree with or what you do not agree with. I will take if you would like to, George, if you would like to write something up, I will be glad to read what you write.
Doesn't seem to matter.
No, everybody has an
I
opinion.
think everybody has a voice, and I think that's what matters. And that I expressed my voice, but it doesn't mean that that's how it's going to be and that I'm going to affect everything else, because I am not a biased person. I like to listen to people, and I hear both sides. I saw both sides, and with that, I made my own choice. That was my choice, and everyone gets a right to make that choice. So excuse me, you had your hand up.
Sorry, you said the email would be a way to submit comment. I looked on the Board of Health website really quickly, it didn't have, so is there a place that you prefer to submit or where you?
Yeah, so mine is my first name initial, so it's M, as in Mary, Braga, B-R-A-G-A, at tewksbury-ma.gov. And that is, so if anyone thinks that I am going to keep anything that is not or for, you can always ask for a FOIA as well, because I will be forced to give everything that has come through, and I have no problem submitting that. So just in case anyone has any issues with that or thinking that I'm going to keep anything from anyone, because that is not who I am or what I do. And with that, I appreciate everyone again for coming and discussing. And if we have a motion to adjourn.
I motion to adjourn.
Second.
Okay, there has been a motion put forward and seconded to adjourn the meeting. Everyone in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? I hear none. It is 7:11. Thank you, Tewksbury. I appreciate you all. Have a great night.